We recently hit 1,000 subscribers here at Desmond's Flicks, and I want to thank each and every one of you for making that happen. So I wanted to make a video to celebrate 1,000 subscribers, and I figured why not talk about my top 5 favorite horror films. This was inspired by my buddy Old Man Ghostface, who tagged me on Instagram to share my top 5. As a heads up, there will be spoilers for my top 5, so consider this your warning. Otherwise, let's get into the list. I was 5 years old when I saw my very first horror film, and that is A Nightmare on Elm Street. To say that this film made a big impression on me is a bit of an understatement. I was equal parts terrified and fascinated by the concept of Freddy Krueger and him being able to invade your dreams. And truth be told, as a kid, I had a lot of nightmares about Freddy Krueger. Whenever I pop this film in, I transport back to being 5-year-old Des, watching this movie and having a ball with it, being both scared and fascinated like I was at 5 years old. When it came to picking my number 5 spot on this list, it no doubt had to be A Nightmare on Elm Street, not only because of the nostalgia, but also because of the fact that I feel like this film is so incredibly well done. This is easily my favorite Wes Craven film, and I feel like he does such a great job with the direction. I also really dig the effects in this film. These are all, of course, practical effects, and everything's in camera. Yes, some of the effects haven't aged really well, but I feel like that comes with the charm of this film. Of course, you have to mention Heather Langenkamp and Robert Englund when you talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street. Nancy is the ultimate final girl, and Freddy Krueger is one of the ultimate slasher villains of all time. The supporting cast is fantastic with both Johnny Depp and John Saxon in this film, and rounding out the rest of the film is the superb soundtrack. I love the Nightmare on Elm Street theme, and it still gives me goosebumps. This one took a few years to grow on me, and that's the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I think a big part of that was because I saw the remake before I saw the original. Over the years, I've seen the error of my ways and have come around to really loving this film. And I quite frankly feel that the entire TCM franchise is really underrated. Gunnar Hansen as Leatherface is imposing and terrifying. Marilyn Burns gives a harrowing portrayal of Sally. The dinner table scene is so creepy still, and seeing her completely freak out and lose her mind, and then be able to muster up the strength to just jump through a window, completely manic, and make her way to freedom is just amazing to me. She does such an awesome performance in this film. And although the gore is pretty sparse in this film, it still feels very brutal without having to show a lot of gore. You get the visceral feeling in these scenes, and it comes across a lot more disturbing than what's actually shown on screen. I love the way that this film is shot. It's so gritty and real. Tobe Hooper's influence with TCM is still felt today. Even after all these years, TCM still unsettles me, and I feel like that's just a testament to how well done and effective this film is. This next film is Ridley Scott's classic Alien. This is another film that I grew up watching. My dad introduced me to this film, and ever since I watched this as a kid, it's remained one of my favorite horror films and favorite films of all time. As much as I love Aliens, I feel like Alien is a superior film, and that's because the crew of the Nostromo are ill-equipped to be able to handle this alien. The ensemble cast is terrific, and Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley is iconic. The entire crew reacts the way that you think people would react in a situation like this, and it feels so grounded even though it's so far from reality. The xenomorph design by H.R. Geiger is intimidating and horrifying, and it's one of my favorite monsters of all time. I also love the fact that we don't continually see the alien. It's hiding in the shadows. You're wondering if it's in the corner or not, and your eyes start to play tricks on you. And I love that about this film. It continues to ratchet up the tension throughout. The cinematography, the lighting, the set design, the sound design, the soundtrack, and the direction is impeccable. And when the cast is whittled down to just Ripley, that's when the suspense kicks into high gear. I absolutely adore this film. This next film is a must for cinephiles, and that is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, which of course is based off of Stephen King's book, The Shining. Both Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall put in amazing performances, and Danny Lloyd as a child actor is very convincing, along with Scatman Carruthers. Stanley Kubrick is well known for his immense attention to detail, and within The Shining, he does not skip a beat with all of the attention to every little detail. From beginning to end, this film is creepy and unsettling, and it's one of those films that slowly ratchets up its suspense, so it's kind of a slow burn, which I really appreciate about this film. And although it takes a lot of liberties with the source material, I feel like it really works for Stanley Kubrick's vision. The feeling of isolation inside of this giant hotel, along with being snowed in, adds to the terror. And although we do have ghosts and visions and things like that happening, so much of what is scary is Jack Nicholson and him being completely unhinged. And the performances by Shelley Duvall and Danny Lloyd add to the uncertainty of whether or not they'll make it out alive. I watch this film at least twice a year, and every single time I find something new to love, whether it's performances or the effects or the incredible cinematography and direction. There are so many layers to this film that there's always something new to discover. And finally, coming in at number 1 is John Carpenter's classic, The Thing. The Thing has aged like a fine wine and shows what practical effects can be able to accomplish. There is not one bad effect in this film, and that's just a testament to how amazing of an artist that Rob Bottin is. No matter how many times I've seen this film, I love the effects. I never get tired of them, and it's pretty incredible what they were able to accomplish with everything being completely practical. Everything feels tangible, it feels wet, it feels nasty, it feels so gross as you're watching it, as well as terrifying. And that terror is shown on the faces of every character. The ensemble cast feels very real. Kurt Russell and Keith David work so well together. They have incredible chemistry. I love the cinematography by Dean Cundy. He's really able to encapsulate the isolation, as well as being able to highlight the incredible practical effects and being able to really capture what the characters are feeling during these incredible sequences. As always with a John Carpenter film, the soundtrack is incredible. I love John Carpenter's music, and this is, for me, my favorite soundtrack to any of his films. Every facet to this film when it comes to storytelling, lighting, sound design, everything is perfection, which is why John Carpenter's The Thing is my number 1 favorite horror film of all time. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you all again for 1,000 subscribers. It's been an awesome ride over the last 2 years, and I hope to continue to bring you guys more and more content like this for years to come. Thanks again for stopping by and watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.